Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating World Malaria Day every year on 25th April. World Malaria Day is celebrated. So this year, World Malaria Day 2025 has a theme, Malaria Ends With Us, Reinvest, Reimagine and Reignite. So on World Malaria Day 2025, World Health Organization joins the RBM partnership to end malaria and other partners in promoting Malaria Ends With Us. Reinvent, Reinvest, Reimagine and Reignite, a grassroots campaign that aims to re-energize efforts at all levels from global policy to community action to accelerate progress towards malaria elimination. Coming to the statistics, around 5,97,000 malaria deaths have been occurred in 2023 and 263 million new cases of malaria was reported in 2020. And 95% of all malaria cases are in World Health Organization African region. Malaria ends with us. Reinvestment, reinvest, reimagine, and reignite. In the 1960s, malaria was retreating until the world hit pause. Global eradication efforts were abandoned in 1969 and millions' lives were lost. It took 30 years for the world to fight back against the deadly disease. Let's not let history repeat itself. So malaria ends with us with Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite on Malaria Day 2025. World Health Organization joins the RBM partnership to end malaria and other partners in promoting Malaria Ends With Us, Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite, a grassroots campaign that aims to re-energize efforts at all levels from global policy to community action to accelerate progress towards malaria elimination. The global community recommitted to malaria in the late 1900s, and as a result, an estimated 2.2 billion cases and 12.7 million deaths have been prevented over more than 2 decades. But after the steady declines, progress has stalled. Today, malaria claims an estimated one life every minute, with most deaths occurring in the World Health Organization African region. Further progress and decades of hard-won gains are in jeopardy. Extreme weather events, conflict, humanitarian emergencies, and economic stresses are disrupting malaria control efforts in many endemic countries, leaving tens of millions of people with limited access to the services they need to prevent, detect, and treat the disease without prompt treatment. Malaria can rapidly escalate to serve illness and death. It's time to recommit to ending malaria. We have the knowledge, life-saving tools, and targeted prevention, testing, and treatment methods. To defeat this disease, we must reinvest in proven interventions, reimagine our strategies to overcome current obstacles, and reignite our collective efforts together with countries and communities to accelerate progress towards ending malaria. We know how to end malaria. The choice is ours. Act now or risk losing ground. Ending malaria is not just a health imperative. It's an investment in more equitable, safer, and prosperous future for every nation. On World Malaria Day, let's reinvest, reimagine, and reignite so that malaria ends with us. To date, World Health Organization has certified 45 countries and one territory as malaria-free, and many countries with a low burden of malaria continue to move steadily towards the goal of elimination. Of the remaining 83 malaria endemic countries, 25 reported fewer than 100 cases of the disease in 2023. However, as the history has shown, these gains are fragile. The history of malaria teaches us a harsh lesson. When we deliver our attention or when we divert our attention, the disease resurges, taking itself greatest toll on the most vulnerable, said World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros. I don't know, but the same history also shows us what's possible with strong political commitment, sustainable investment, multi-sectorial action, and community engagement. Malaria can be defeated. So years of investment in the development of new malaria vaccines and next generation tools to prevent and control malaria are paying off. On World Malaria Day, Mali will join 19 other countries in introducing malaria vaccines, a vital step towards protecting young children from one of the continent's most deadly diseases. The large-scale rollout of malaria vaccines in Africa is expected to save tens of thousands of young lives every year. Meanwhile, the expanded use of new generation of insecticide-treated nets is poised to lower the disease burden. According to the latest World Malaria Report, these new nets, which have greater impact against malaria than the standard pyrethroid-only nets, accounted for nearly 80% of all nets delivered in sub-Saharan Africa in 2023, up from 59% from the previous year. Despite significant gains, malaria remains a major public health challenge, with nearly 6 lakh lives lost to the disease in 2023 alone. The African region is hardest hit, shouldering an estimated of 95% of the malaria burden each year. In many areas, progress has been hampered by fragile health systems and rising threats such as drug and insecticide resistance. Many at-risk groups continue to miss out on the services they need to prevent, detect, and treat malaria. Climate change, conflict, poverty, and population displacement are compounding these challenges. World Health Organization recently warned that the 2025 funding cuts could further derail progress in many endemic countries, putting millions of additional lives at risk. Of the 64 World Health Organization country officers in the malaria endemic countries that took part in the recent World Health Organization stock take assessment, more than half reported moderate or severe disruptions to malaria services. To reinvest, World Health Organization joins partners and civil society in calling on malaria endemic countries to boost domestic spending, particularly in primary health care, so that at-risk population can access the services they need to prevent malaria and also detect and treat malaria. The successful replenishments of the Global Fund and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, are also critical to financing malaria programs and interventions and accelerating progress towards the target set in the World Health Organization Global Technical Strategy for Malaria 2016 to 2030. Addressing current challenges in global malaria control was also required a reimagined response through innovative tools, strategies, and partnerships. New and more effective anti-malarial drugs are needed, as well as advancements in service delivery, diagnosis, insecticides, vaccines, and vector control methods. More countries are making malaria control and elimination a national priority, including through the Yaoundé Declaration, signed in March 2024 by the African Ministers of Health from 11 high-burden countries. Ministers committed to strengthening their health system, stepping up domestic resource, enhancing multi-sectorial action, and ensuring a robust accountability mechanism, notes Dr. Daniel McJane, Director of the World Health Organization Global Malaria Program. This is the kind of leadership the world must rally behind, reigniting commitment at all levels, from communities and frontline health workers to governments, researchers, and the private sector innovators and the donors will be crucial to curbing and ultimately ending malaria. Today is also commemorated as International Delegates Day on 25th April every year, entrusted by the peoples of the world. Delegates bring the United Nations to life. Without them, this organization would not be what it is. They negotiate agreements and coordinate with their home countries, some from alliances, others struggle for compromises. In that way, they embody the multilateralism which the UN stands for. The delegates represent their countries in the meetings of the United Nations, unless a politician of the higher rank is present. The delegates speak and vote on behalf of the country at the UN General Assembly and other fora, such as the UN Security Council. The delegates are appointed by their countries, hence they follow the interest of government they serve. In order to raise awareness of the role of representatives and delegates of the member states of the United Nations, the UN General Assembly has proclaimed 25th April as International Delegates Day. With the adoption of Resolution 73 by 286, the General Assembly recognizes the crucial role of delegates in fulfilling the main goals of the United Nations. Part of the delegates' task is to live up to the goals, whether it is maintaining international peace, encouraging respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, or promoting effective multilateralism. So, looking at the background of this day, International Delegates Day marks the anniversary of the first day of San Francisco Conference, also known as the United Nations Conference on International Organization. On 25th April 1945, delegates from 50 countries came together for the first time in San Francisco, coming together after the devastation of the Second World War. Their aim was set up an organization that would restore world peace and impose rules on the post-war world order. 850 delegates took part in the conference, which lasted for 2 months. They represented over 80% of the world's population, people of every world religion and continent, all determined to set up an organization which would preserve peace and help build a better world. So 2 months after the first meeting on 26 June 1945, the Charter of the United Nations was signed by the representative of the 50 countries that attended the conference. The agreement resulted in the creation of the United Nations, an organization that now comprises 193 member states and serves as the main international venue for collective dialogue between the delegates of its member states. Poland, which did not have a government at the time of conference, signed the charter later, hence bringing up the number of founding member states to 50. In the resolution 73 by 286 from 2nd April 2019, the General Assembly recalls the achievement of the San Francisco Conference and proclaims 25th April as the International Delegates Day. Today, we are also celebrating few other days. Like today, we are also commemorating World Penguin Day and World Women's Wellness Day. World Women's Wellness Day takes place annually on the last Friday of April. Which is April 25th. This year, this is the ultimate guide to health and happiness. The first Women's Wellness and Self-Care Virtual Conference from April 29 to 30, 2021, hosted by Diversity Women Media. The unprecedented challenges women face balancing their careers and their lives as mothers, wives, daughters, and friends will undoubtedly affect their physical and mental health. Diversity Women Media is currently running a Wellness Wednesday series on health-related topics, including stress management, physical and mental well-being, sleep hygiene, nutrition, and mindfulness. Their audience comes from all over the world and is made of every race, culture, and background. They are single or married and they come together to share their stories and provide comfort to each other during hard times. They join the conversation seeking the hope that their wavering resilience needed. World Women's Wellness Day and its virtual conference are extensions of Diversity Women's Media Wellness Wednesday, which provides information about self-care and other wellness issues. World Women's Wellness Day is the day of the year when women are encouraged to make themselves a priority and focus on their health and well-being. The virtual conference will allow women to interact with leaders, specialists, and other resources that will help them reevaluate their lives and positively impact wellness. They want to empower women with the knowledge they need to be happier, healthier, giving them the tools they need to succeed in all facets of their lives. Their metaphor for the dealing with difficult people is put your mask on first. Flight attendants tell us when there's a trouble in the air. It shows us the importance of taking care of ourselves before we take care of others. Women tend not to put their masks on first, leading to health and wealth issues. Diversity Women Media wants to help women be the best they can be by showing them how to put their needs first. The result will be happier mothers, wives, partners, employees, and people. Today is also commemorated as World Penguin Day. Commemorated on April 25th, aims to raise awareness about these flightless birds to preserve their species so that the future generations get to see these elegant and remarkable creatures. This day coincides with the annual northern migration of Adelie penguins, a pattern that is inherent and conserved across generations. There are 8 species native to Antarctica. Most penguins are monogamous and have unique calls to assist them to find their mates in large groups. Most species lay up to 2 eggs in a season, while the king and emperor penguins lay only one. Alarmingly, although of the 18 known living species, 10 have been listed as endangered. This particular celebration of penguins was created at McMurdo Station in American Research Center on Ross Island, where researchers discovered that Adelie penguins start their migration around the day each year. So began World Penguin Day as a way to commemorate the event and raise awareness about these creatures. This day encourages people to learn more about penguins and the dangers they encounter, their environment, and their contribution to the environment. Penguins differ considerably in size from the large emperor penguin, reaching heights of over 3 feet and 7 inches, to the little blue penguin, which is about 13 inches tall. Historically, giant species of penguins existed that grew almost 6 feet high and weighed over 176 pounds. Penguins are highly adaptive to aquatic life with their wings that have evolved into flippers and their excellent swimming abilities, where species like the emperor penguin can reach deep depths of 1800 feet. Penguins are disguised to protect themselves against predators from above and below. Their glossy feathers hold air in them that helps to both keep them warm and help them stay afloat. These extraordinary creatures are spread all over the southern hemisphere, from Antarctica to the Galapagos Islands. Penguins are famous for their dedicated chick-hatching endeavors, cute waddles, and amazing survival instincts, such as hunting to stay warm during icy winters. Our appreciation for penguins has inspired the creation of movies and books, such as Penguins of Madagascar and Mr. Popper Penguins, yet they face extinction, where a concerted effort is needed to help reduce our carbon footprint and prevent pollution to preserve their habitat. Penguins do fly through water using their wings called flippers to propel themselves through the water rather than air. Because water is much denser than air, penguin wings are shorter and stouter than the wings of birds that fly through the air. Penguins are also much heavier than similar sized flying birds and have solid bones rather than weight saving air filled bones. So penguins defend themselves and their nest sites with their beaks and wings. They bite fiercely and also use their thick strap-like wings to beat their opponent. Blue penguins and most of the crested species are regular fighters, while yellow-eyed penguins rarely fight. So their diet varies between species in some cases. Location, this can also include wide range of fish, squid, octopus, and shrimp-like animals. Some species of penguin target surface cooling fish species, while other are mid-water bottom feeders. So this is a perfect opportunity to gather information about these amazing animals. Search online, read books, or watch Penguins, a coming-of-age documentary about an Adelie penguin named Steve, who joins millions of other males to start his own family despite the perils of Antarctica. If you can take trip to zoo to see these birds up close, you can even get the opportunity to take part in the feeding time by throwing fish to the peckish birds. Fund a penguin with the option of adopting one remotely. You can give it a name and arrange for visits. King penguins can dive down to 1,125 feet, with gentle penguins reach depths of 600 feet. They are gifted divers. So penguins digest their food very quickly, which is why they frequently have to poop, and penguins poop every 20 minutes. The black and white color of penguin provides camouflage so that they can be seen by predators above and below them. Their counter shading protects them. Predators. Gentoo penguins can swim at speeds of up to 22 miles per hour. Gentoo penguins are fastest swimmers. The oldest penguin fossils are millions of years old. Penguins have existed since antiquity. Penguins aren't only visually appealing, but are also more skilled birds in the animal kingdom. They are capable of holding their breath underwater for 20 minutes and can swim around 5 times faster than an Olympic swimmer. Penguins are birds, although aquatic and flightless. They live in southern hemisphere, gracing their habitat with their beauty. World Penguin Day is dedicated to these exceptional creatures. In maintaining ecological balance, penguins serve as a food for leopard seals and sharks. They also contribute to the food chain by preying on krill, squid, and small fish. Today is also commemorated as International Noise Awareness Day, celebrated every year on April 25th. It helps spread awareness about the effects of noise in our welfare and health. On this day, several noise pollution related events takes place around the world. They include lectures that aim to teach people about the effects of noise on public health. Founded by the Center for Hearing and Communication, CHC, in 1996, International Noise Awareness Day is an opportunity to spread awareness about the effects of noise pollution on our mental and physical health. The global campaign is observed worldwide, such as in Germany, Italy, Brazil, Chile, Spain, and United States. A common effect of noise pollution is hearing loss. Several everyday activities and events generate a lot of noise. For instance, loud music from smartphones and other listening devices can cause hearing damage. Similarly, fitness classes, entertainment venues, concerts, noisy restaurants, and sports bars generate a lot of noise. Hearing loss results when we are constantly exposed to loud sounds. The louder the sounds, the faster the hearing damage occurs. The length of exposure to loud sounds also affects the amount of damage. However, personal hearing protection devices like earplugs or noise cancelling earmuffs can protect the ears from damage. So, noise affects people's health, wellness, safety, and comfort. However, most people don't even realize the impact of noise on their mental or physical well being until too late. International Noise Awareness Day aims to teach people what they need to know to protect their hearing and keep themselves physically and mentally fit. The day also shows that people can maintain healthy hearing in their old age by taking certain precautions and avoiding specific situations. So, living in a noisy area can affect a child's brain development and language acquisition skills. People have won many lawsuits over noise pollution. However, it is not a crime. Noise pollution can lead to both episodic tension, headaches, and chronic headaches. Today is also commemorated as International Financial Independence Awareness Day in US, which is observed on April 5th, 25th. It is a day for workers to include plans for becoming financially independent in their careers. So no one wants to pay bills with difficulties on retirement, but many are ignorant of how to go about that. This day educates and prompts you to take charge of your finances and practice the proven theory of saving a small percentage of your monthly earnings for some time. In the long run, you will then have enough to become financially independent. With increasing difficulties in economic sectors worldwide, it is almost impossible for many to boast of financial security. However, with the right guidance and planning, a promising future can be almost guaranteed. Everyone wants to be financially independent, but few know the right steps to take to achieve that. And that is why a group of well informed individuals who knew the power of financial independence decided to create a day to suggest feasible plans for workers to attain it. International Financial Independence Awareness Day celebration codified 425 began in 2019. It was primarily created to enjoin workers, especially those planning on retiring, to imbibe the 4% and 25 rules of gaining financial independence. The 4% rule implores workers to withdraw 4% of their annual investment, so fund their retirement and increase in the event of inflation. The 25 rule tells workers what they are required to save for their retirement years, that is 25 times their yearly expenses. The organizers of this day believe imbibing these rules will guarantee loyalists outright their financial independence even after retirement. Today is also commemorated as Sinai Liberation Day in Egypt, which is observed every year on April 25th. It serves to mark the liberation of the peninsula of Sinai. Egypt recovered the land of Sinai in 1982, and this was an important event in the country. This day is a special day that encourages public to celebrate the beauty of Sinai. Tourist cities like Dahab and Sharm el Sheikh receive a lot of visitors during this day. It is popular with many people around the world who sometimes travel to Egypt for celebrations. The tourist cities are located along the Egyptian Red Sea Riviera. Today is also commemorated as Red Hat Society Day in US, which is a celebration of women and their lifelong friendships formed. The Red Hat Society is one of the world's most prestigious worldwide women's social organization. Starting with a single red hat given as a birthday gift, it has evolved into a universal emblem for women turning 50 and entering the next stage in life. It has evolved from a club or organization to a women's society with members emphasizing the positive sides of life, including camaraderie, sisterhood, entertainment, and a desire to discover the good in everything. Members promote mutual respect, goodwill, and good humor. Today is also commemorated as Parental Alienation Awareness Day in Bermuda, Canada, and US, which is observed on April 25th every year, is nothing but a day to raise awareness about parental alienation. Parental alienation can be a form of child abuse. Parental alienation, sometimes called hostile aggressive parenting, can be a form of child abuse according to the behavior of a parent or an adult a child trusts, such as grandmother, father, aunt, uncle, or anyone close to the child, knowingly or unknowingly, creating alienation in the relationship between the child and them. But what exactly is parental alienation? And what is Parental Alienation Awareness Day about? Parental Alienation Awareness Day, in short known as PAAD, observed in USA, Canada, and Bermuda, is a special day created as part of global awareness campaign about parental alienation. Parental Alienation Awareness Day is observed every April 25th, aims to highlight to parents and other caregivers effects that parental alienation could have on their children, and educate adults to identify signs that either they are on someone close to the child or behaving in a manner that could affect the children. Usually, parental alienation happens when one caregiver attempts to turn a child against another caregiver. This is often done in persuade the child and to exclude the other parent from the child's life. Some of the most common types of behavior displayed by parents include constantly bad mouthing the other parent, limiting or minimizing the other parent's contact, forbidding the child from taking about or discussing the other parent, faking an expression that other parent dislikes or that they do not love the child, and trying to force the child to reject the parent to make the other distant. Parental alienation may cause their terrible psychological damage to the children that can last long after they become adults. Today is also commemorated as National Zucchini Bread in US. It is so sweet and tasty, it deserves a slot on the food calendar. There are dozens of zucchini bread recipes to choose from, and appease your craving for warm, soft bread without guilt because of the high nutritional value and fibrous properties of this baked treat. Also, because zucchini is such an easy vegetable to grow, why not use this day as inspiration to start your own vegetable garden? Today is also commemorated as National Manicure Day in US. Women and stylists get to show off their beautiful nails with purpose. Records show that Egyptian men of affluence painted their nails in distinct colors to mark their societal status. Manicure and pedicure have been integral parts of the lives of most women, not only in the West, but all around the world. It's hard to find a female that has not visited a salon to put the final touches on her fingernails and toenails in the West. This habit has become so rampant that different styles and designs are constantly getting created to match people's preferences. Today is also commemorated as National Plumbers Day. In US, it is an opportunity to appreciate the plumbing profession. It brings light to how much we depend on water as a society. Since it is a basic necessity, access to water is very important. Water is one thing that everyone needs. This day helps to spread awareness about the benefits of safe and quality plumbing. It allows the public to learn more about how to get access to water while also giving us the chance to show plumbers support and appreciation for what they do. Plumbers make it easier for us to get access to water on a daily basis. Without their efforts, it would be a lot more difficult to get water. We need water for a lot of things in our everyday lives. We need water for drinking, cooking, and sanitation. There are basic needs. These are basic needs that we all need to fulfill. Plumbers make it easier for us to comfortably do these things by setting up all the mechanisms required to make water systems work. Today is also commemorated as National Liberation Day in Italy. Celebrated on April 25th every year as the day marks the beginning of the end of Nazi fascism, Alcide de Gasperi, the then Prime Minister of Italy, established this day as national holiday in 1949, also known as La Festa della Resistenza, that is anniversary of the resistance. It is a tribute to all political partisans who stood up against the Nazis. Today is also commemorated as National Lingari Day in US. The day celebrates the best of decorative garments that allow you to feel glamorous for yourself and your partners. Lingerie is a French word that means underwear. By using French word, the intention is to suggest that this underwear is both sophisticated and glamorous. Lingerie was primarily women's underwear, but over time, designers have designed items of lingerie that suit men. While underwear is a common undergarment, lingerie takes up its step further with an attractive, alluring quality. Today is also commemorated as National Hug a Plumber Day in US. Many plumbers have saved the day, and more often night, they can prevent catastrophe by fixing a toilet or unclogging a drain. What would our lives be without these heroes of indoor plumbing? It takes great expertise to really know what goes on in these mazes of pipes and how to keep them all running like clockwork. It is also commemorated as National Hairball Awareness Day. In US, falling on the last Friday in April, National Hairball Day Awareness on April 25th aims to promote awareness of our pets' health and happiness. Predominantly a concern for cats, rabbits, and cattle, hairballs are a healthy part of animal routines, but can also be evidence of underlying health issue. So we have all the info to help you care for your creatures on National Hairball Awareness. A hairball is a small collection of hair that collects in the cat's stomach when cats groom themselves. The barbs on their tongues catch loose or dead hair, which they swallow, and much of this hair passes straight through them and out the other end. But if some of it gets logged in stomach, the cat will vomit it out to remove it from the system. Today is also commemorated as National DNA Day. Every year on April 25th since 2003, scientists, biologists, and genetics enthusiasts come together to observe National DNA Day, celebrating the discovery and research into DNA and the scientific advancements that help make progress possible. Organized annually by the Human Genome Research Institute, National DNA Day encourages people to learn more about the science that makes them genetically unique. On April 25, 1953, molecular biologist James Davy Watson's academic paper presenting DNA's double helix structure, which he co-authored with British molecular biologists Francis Crick and Maury Wickens, was published in the scientific journal. Nature. 9 years later, the three scientists were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for unearthing the molecular structure of nucleic acids and its importance for genetic information transfer in living beings. On April 14, 2003, the Human Genome Project, an international scientific research project with the goal of determining the base pairs that make up human DNA and identifying all genes of the human genome, was declared complete. The project lasted for 13 years, finishing 2 years ahead of schedule, and was publicly funded by the US government. It was originally set to map the nucleotides contained within a human haploid genome, but scientists quickly realized that the genome of given individual is completely unique. So mapping the human genome involved mapping the DNA of small number of individuals and then piecing them all together to create a complete sequence for each individual chromosome, meaning the complete human genome is more so a mosaic rather than representative of any one individual. Following the completion of Human Genome Project, both the Senate and the House of Representatives proclaimed April 25, 2003 as DNA Day and April as Human Genome Month. The day marked 50 years since Watson, Crick, and Wilkins' academic paper was published, and the month itself was considered significant in genome discovery. However, they only declared it on a one-time celebration rather than annual holiday. Since then, National DNA Day events and celebrations have been hosted by the National Human Genome Research Institute in order to encourage further research as well as to celebrate and continue to acknowledge all the hard work that has been dedicated to the study of DNA. Today is also commemorated as National Arbor Day in US. Broadleaf, evergreen, conifer, America's first Arbor Day took place towards the start of 1817s, right around the time of Congress established. Yellowstone National Park celebrates nothing less than humanity's endearment towards nature on April 25th, just after Earth Day on 22nd. National Arbor Day always falls on the last Friday in April, but many states observe Arbor Day on different dates throughout the year based on their best tree planting times. That varies widely. For example, Florida, third Friday in January, Alaska, third Monday in May, Hawaii, first Friday in November, and so on. So plant a tree. What's better way to celebrate Arbor Day than to plant your own tree? It's an incredible experience watching a tree grow over the years, and then it's an unbelievable feeling knowing that you made it happen. There is also commemorated as License Plate Day on April 25th in the US to celebrate the first ever issued license plate in the US in 1901. Prior to this, there was no official marking or designation on any vehicle. The lack of acknowledgement hurt the vehicle owners because horses and carriages had more rights and they could be denied access to roads. With the passage of the law, New York became the first state to issue a license plate on vehicles, and the trend was swiftly picked up by the entire West Coast states. Today, there are more than 250 million registered vehicles in the country, and each of them has a unique number plate. Today is also commemorated as Hairstylist Appreciation Day in US, annually celebrated on April 25th. As they are often overlooked for all the jobs they actually do. They are excellent listeners, whether we are describing that celebrity haircut we want to copy or talking about our families, spouses, friends, or kids. They act as our stand-in therapist and confident. They are artists, perfectionists, color chemists, angle mathematicians, supportive therapists, and more have influence on how we feel about ourselves and how we view others. Today is also commemorated as Freedom Day in Portugal on April 25th to commemorate the Carnation Revolution that took place in the country. The day marks the beginning of bloodless coup that ended the dictatorship in the country and honors the establishment of democracy in Portugal. It's a public holiday and a day of great celebration in the country. Portuguese nationalists fill the streets with the colors of Portugal's flag, and educational demonstrations are planned across the country to educate the younger generations about the history of Portugal's struggle for independence. Today is also commemorated as East Meets West Day in the US in remembrance of the historical events in 1945 when American soldiers met with the Soviet forces at Torgau along with the River Elbe in Germany. This marked one of the first steps towards the formal takeover of Berlin from the Axis forces. While the Americas and Soviets were on the same side in the Second World War, they had been averse to meeting directly for various political reasons. However, their first physical contact was a display of cooperation that helped to bring the war to an end. Today is also commemorated as Donate Life Blue and Green Day in US, which is a day that was largely pioneered by the Donate Life America organization to encourage people to welcome the idea of donating organs to individuals in need. There is no specifically appointed day for this day, but is usually any day, mostly a Friday. Within April, the month of which is National Donate Life Month, Donate Life Blue and Green Day is usually observed by the hundreds of thousands of individuals waiting to receive organ donations and comprises people wearing the blue and green colors to raise awareness. Donate Life America, DLA, is a non-profit organization dedicated to saving lives through organ transplants, as well as building a tradition of organ donation as a fundamental human response. The DLA manages and directs the affairs of Donate Life, which is its national brand for driving donations and motivating members of the public to register as donors. Today is also commemorated as Anzac Day in Australia. Is one of the Australia and New Zealand's most important and revered occasion. The acronym stands for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. This day marks the anniversary of the first major military action the country's forces fought during World War I. The many commemorative services and the memorials available today. Anzac Day is a time in which Australians reflect on the many different meanings of war while honoring those who have given their lives to their country. Today is also commemorated as Interstate Mullet Toss in US. Celebrated on the last full weekend of April every year is a legendary beach party that was once started just a reason to party. This year it takes place from April 25th to 27th. Today it has become one of the biggest beach parties on the Gulf Coast. Interstate Mullet Toss has been there for last 30 years and thousands of people from across the nation come to the beach to watch and enjoy and celebrate this fun festival. This week is also commemorated as Intergenerational Week from April 25th to 1st in UK. This Intergenerational Week started as an online campaign created to bridge the relationship gap between generations. In addition to fostering friendship among generations, the campaign aims to inspire and encourage knowledge exchanges, ideas, and moments. In other words, if you are a member of the Lost Generation, Silent Generation, Millennial Generation Z, or Generation Alpha, this campaign event is for you. This campaign celebrates ideas, practices, and possibilities which allow individuals from the 7 generations to establish genuine friendship together. Today is also commemorated as Go Diaper Free Week in US from 25th to 30th. Every year, this week is celebrated across the country to encourage parents and caregivers to avoid using diapers and instead focus on their toddlers' cues. Potty training is a huge part of child development growth and which is called elimination communication, which help parents navigate this process. Without an over-reliance on diapers with improved communication, caregivers are able to better support their toddlers need to eliminate waste in the toilet. Over time, elimination communication helps children feel more in control over the use of toilets. Today is also commemorated as Global Youth Service Days from April 25th to 27th, which takes place on the last weekend of April. They take place from April 25th to 27th. It's an annual conference of youth volunteers who spend their time and talent on community service and civic action. It seeks to give them a voice and encourage other youths to volunteer for community service. It started in the US but has expanded to 100 countries where young people are groomed as future leaders. Every country is dependent on its youth to ensure its future. That is why countries invest heavily in education. But unlike in developed countries where the education sector boasts systems that thoroughly train students in leadership, that is developing countries in generally fragile and needs further boost, if not an overhaul. Observed as the National Youth Service Days years ago in the US, these days celebrate the success of an international congregation of youth volunteers who have devoted their time and talent to community service. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us on this wonderful day. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.